Alright, there's my apple tree. Got some nice looking ripe apples on it. I think I'll pick some and make some applesauce. I wanted to get some video of this apple tree because I'm not sure how many years it has left. Right here. Termite hole. This thing's hanging on by a thread, but hey, it's still alive. Goes to show you what termites can do to an apple tree. I picked the ones with this nice red color on them. The red makes them easier to see. So, if I could see them, the birds can see them. The birds go after the reddish ones. They leave them when they're yellow. Like, see, here's a bird beak hole right here. They don't do that one to the yellow or green ones. That red one, or that red color right here, really draws their eye. Alright, here's my apples I harvested. Pretty good. Now these apples could be more ripe. These are not as ripe as they could be. Like I said before, if they get too red, the birds see that red color and they'll eat them before I do, so I pick them a little early. See right there? I pick them a little early before the birds get them. And there's still some left on the tree. So I'm good for another 2 weeks. Every weekend I'll harvest some. So now I'm going to rinse these off. Alright, one more rinse in the sink. I'll rinse these off, dry them, and then I'll sort the apples. I'll save the biggest ones for eating. And then the lower quality ones we'll make applesauce out of. Alright, I got the apples cleaned, dried off, ready for applesauce. And these are the 7 best ones that I picked out. I thought they were the nicest, the largest. And then these over here, they're damaged or small or not ripe enough. We'll save these for applesauce. Right here's 12 pounds. Here's 14 pounds, or here's 2 pounds. So we picked a total of 14 pounds today. I'm gonna get started on making my applesauce. And the first thing I have to do is peel and core the apples. But I don't have a peeler, so I have to do that by hand. I got the apples peeled and they're ready to core. And I started out with 9 pounds of apples. 9 pounds of whole apples. I don't know what they weigh after they're peeled and cored. So now after they've been peeled, since I do not have an apple corer, I have to core them with a knife. So we start by cutting the apple in half. Then you cut the half into a half. And you do the same for the other side. And to remove the core, you just cut this part out with the knife. And you do that for all 4 quarters of your apple. And then we discard these cores here into our trash bucket. And then what we use are the nice, fleshy, delicious part of the apple. So you put that in the pot with all the other ones. And then you add just a splash of lemon juice to prevent the apples from going brown. Not much, just maybe a tablespoon or so. Something like that. There. So keep processing these, and then we'll be back when this is full. Okay, the apples have been peeled, cored, and they're in quarters. So these are ready to go. These are ready to make applesauce. And I have to throw all this. All these are the wasted cores and peels, and I'm going to throw this out.
There you go, chicken.
Alright, I'm going to get started cooking these. And the recipe I'm using is 9 pounds of full apples, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, a little bit of that lemon juice, 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 3 cups of water. Okay, so I'm going to start with adding 3 cups of water. And then I'll crank the heat up just to bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to turn it way down. Okay, the water's starting to boil, so now I'm going to turn this down to probably around here, medium heat. And then just let that go until the apples are tender enough to mash with a potato masher. And from here, it's just pretty much like making mashed potatoes. I'm not sure how long this will take. 7:15. Okay, about 20 minutes. So this looks good enough. So I'm going to start mashing the apples with the potato masher. And probably give it a little longer, and then I'll add the other ingredients, like the sugar and the cinnamon. I'm just going to keep hitting it with the potato masher till I'm at the desired consistency. And then I'm going to let it reduce a little bit. Okay, now we're about at the consistency I want. A little over an hour. So now I can add my ingredients. We're going to do about a cup of white sugar. Doesn't have to be super precise. A cup of brown sugar. And then around a teaspoon of cinnamon, approximately. Maybe a little less if you want. Mix it all together. Probably let that reduce a little more on medium-low heat. You got to be careful with the heat now because you could burn it because there's sugar in it. Then after a few minutes until I'm satisfied with the consistency, I'll let this cool off and put it in Tupperware containers for the freezer. I think I'm going to do a taste test. See how I did. That's good. Perfect. I like the cinnamon to apple ratio is just about right, so about a teaspoon is good. Brown sugar, that's just the right amount. Just the right amount of sweetness. It's definitely better than the stuff you get in the store. It has more of a, it's like stronger tasting. Very good. So now I'm going to let it cool. And I'll put this in containers for the freezer. For reference, this is the quantity I got. A little over 8 cups. So about a half a gallon of applesauce came from 9 pounds of apples. I think these have cooled down enough, and we're just going to put them in the freezer now. And from my experience, applesauce freezes very well, because I just had one of these containers full of applesauce in it from probably over a year ago. It tasted just like the new stuff does. Alright, there it goes into the freezer. That's it, and that should last a pretty long time.